Hey folks, Jesus is coming so very soon, y'all. And we're at that point, that line right there, where I shouldn't even have to say that no more. Look around. You know, I've told y'all millions of times, but people are worse now. Evil is things I've never seen like this, you know. And something happened down here at the lake a couple of days ago I want to talk about here in a minute. But I want to tell y'all some stuff. I don't know how my brain's working the way it does since my wife lost her son in 2013. I don't know why things happen the way it does, but for some reason it's doing this. Things I shouldn't remember, I remember, and things that I should remember, I don't remember. It's so strange. But the other day, well, I'll say the other day, it's probably been a month or longer. My brother, my blood brother, was over here, and I was standing by his driver's door, and he dropped his sun visor and said, "Here." This was Pepa's, my daddy's daddy, his daddy's daddy, and it's crazy how a memory of what he gave me popped in my head. And I didn't know if it was a real memory or just something that my brain made up. I don't know, but I was talking to my mom about it, and there's a picture of it. She took a picture of it. So yeah, it was real. I remember my Papa holding me. I was about a year old. He was holding me in his hand. It was his right hand. Yeah, he was holding me in his right hand. And he had some monstrous hands. And I remember I was sitting there playing with his pinky ring. Well, that's what my brother gave me, my Papa's pinky ring. And the only reason why my brother gave that to me is because he assumed it's fake gold. It ain't. It says 10K on it. It's just light. It's paper thin. And it's just crazy how... Another thing, and I forgot about this. How do you forget an entire person in your life that it was kind of a big impact, you know? And it's just, I don't understand it. There was this guy, it was one of my brother's friends. He's probably 5 years older than me, I guess. Every time he was around, his name was Brandon. His first name was Michael. His middle name was Brandon. And when he was young, he went by Brandon. And when he got older, he went by Michael. I never called him Michael. He just don't look like a Michael to me, I guess. I don't know. But when that, my other brother's friend was tormenting me as a kid, and Brandon was around, he'd always step in front of me before I did something stupid, you know, grab something and hit that guy, whatever it was. He always stepped in front of me and faced the guy and said, "You keep doing this, you're gonna fight." And he was always tall, but he was never really big or intimidating looking, you know. He just didn't have any fear. He didn't show any fear. And for some reason, that guy never wanted to fight him. He left me alone when Brandon was around. And how do you forget that? Me and him grew apart over the years, and then I saw him again in probably 2001, and I was like, my goodness, he got big, dude. He started hitting the weights and got into MMA fighting, and, you know, dude's every bit of 6'6". And I think he got around probably 250. He never really had a weight class in MMA back then. So every time there would be a fight, it would be once in a blue moon. He had a good record. But anyways, 2008, I guess me and him grew apart again around the time my wife got pregnant at the end of 2009. Then he came back in my life again after my son died. I was in the height of my depression, and we got close. I looked at him like he was my brother. I didn't have that, you know. I was so used to people, and this is none of this is for a pity party. I wanted to tell, you know, I never really had that. Like if I had a guy friend in my life or something, they would call me and talk to me like, you know, that, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd get to the point of what they wanted. And it was always like that. But not with Brandon. If he called to check on me, that's what he was doing. Never asked me for nothing. And I was shocked. At first, I was like, okay. And I was waiting for it. Where's the punchline? But never did it. And then we grew apart again, like I said, after 2008. And, well, in 2015, I guess this happened. I blocked him out of my mind because I was so mad at him for so long. And then eventually just completely forgot about him. But in 2015, he invited me to a barbecue. I just got off work. I went in at 6 o'clock that morning, and I didn't get off till 9 o'clock that night. I was tired, you know, drained. This guy had me working 7 days a week anyways, and I was going to be 31 that year. The year I got hurt. Sure it was. I was going to be 31 that year. Cut me down early, that injury, you know. But anyways, Brandon called me and told me to come to this barbecue that he was having, and I just told him I was just too tired. And I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't want to hurt his feelings or anything. I was just tired. I didn't get much rest and overworked, you know. Something had happened at that barbecue, and I know we can't dwell in the past. No, I mean, let's not even go there. What if this or if that, or this would have been different if I would have did this. None of that matters, because what happens happens. I mean, we can't change it. We only learn from our mistakes, you know. And I got up that next morning, and every morning it was pretty much the same routine. When I was working there, I don't know why I did this, but I got up 3 to 4 hours early every single morning for the 2 years I worked there. I don't know why I did it. I really don't. But I would turn on the news, the 5 o'clock news, and I would just wake up. I don't know. I didn't drink any coffee or anything. I would just sit there and just wake up and, you know, try to... People that had messaged me the day before and I was busy, I would sit there and text them back or whatever, and I didn't ever try to ignore anybody, not on purpose. But I heard his name on the news, and I dropped what I was doing and I just watched. Said his name, and it said charged with 2nd-degree attempted murder. I was so mad. I could have had my phone in my hand. I could have threw it to the TV. I was so mad. What did you do, man? I mean, he went to jail. I didn't try to contact him or nothing. I was so mad. And then May of 2016, I went down to the jail and talked to him. Asked him what happened. He told me everything that happened. And I even asked him, I said, well, why didn't you get self-defense? Well, the judge looked at his MMA record and made her decision. Anyways, what happened was he was standing outside at the barbecue pit, and there was this guy in his 50s, and he was tanked. See, Brandon really never drank. And when he did, he couldn't handle his liquor because he wasn't a drinker. He kind of like me back in the day. I didn't drink, and when I did, it didn't take very many. But anyways, the older guy was groping on his wife, and it made him mad. And he told the guy, "Don't do that," and that was it. I mean, man, if you do that again, man, you're gonna be fighting, you know. Just warned him. Well, the guy quit, apologized, went back over to his apartment. And this is a part I don't understand. Why would the guy come back? it was done. It was over with. It's all on surveillance cameras. It was at that apartment complex it happened at. And the guy came back out. Brandon was facing the barbecue pit. He was cutting steak. Had a steak knife sitting there cutting a steak. About to take it inside. It was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And the guy came around the corner with a 2x4 and just hit Brandon in the head. Not one time, but three. And why Brandon didn't turn around and do something different, I don't know. But he took the knife he had in his hand and turned around and just stuck it in that guy's throat. Instant regret is what he told me. He said, I regretted it instantly. It's like, that ain't you, man. That ain't the Brandon I know. But it's a split-second decision. What do you do? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sympathizing with it, but I was just mad at him, y'all. And I want to say, how do you forget about somebody? It's been 10 years. 10 years since I spoke to him. Well, me and my wife were talking the other day, and his name came up, and I felt so bad. I mean, how do you forget? She said, I can find him for you. I said, well, I don't even know if he's still in that same jail. I don't know if they moved him. I don't know anything. Well, she found something called JPay or something I never heard of, how you can talk to prisoners or something like that. And she said, all I need is his prison ID. Well, I'd asked my brother, how can I find him? He gave me her Brandon's sister's number. That was the first time I ever spoke to her. And I texted her and I said, you don't know me, but you know, your brother was like my brother. And she screenshotted his ID and sent it to me, and my wife found him. And I was like, well, I'll give it a try. Just in case. I think you could only add like $10 as the lowest. Well, she added that, and I said, well, I'll try it. And I emailed him, telling him I was sorry I hadn't been there, and you know, he was always there for me growing up. Anyways, he emailed me back, asked for my number, and I gave it to him, and he tried to call me every other day since, and I just don't understand how he didn't get self-defense. Seriously, it's beyond me, but the guy didn't die. I mean, he was critically wounded, you know, but he didn't die. Thank God. But everybody, when that happened, there was so much, like all his friends and things on Facebook, everybody was talking about it and talking about him, and his wife wound up deleting his Facebook back then, and all kind of stuff. And I'd asked him, he called me yesterday, and I'd asked him, I said, who else reached out to you? I'm just curious. Nobody. His wife stayed with him this whole time. He said he's got 2 years left. I said, brother, I don't think we're going to be here. That's a long time. And all this going on right now. They wanted me to get on the visitation list, and they moved him way down South Louisiana. And to be honest with y'all, I told him it's going to be a while if I even can. This truck here, I don't trust whatever the vibrating thing is. I don't want to be all, 4.5 hours away and it break and we're just stranded, And I told him that. And my truck's still broke, and there's no way I can get down there right now. But he added us to the list anyway, and it'd be great to see him again. But anyways, just wanted to share that, y'all. And about the lake down here, I'm sorry this video's, anyways, I was down here at the lake the other day. The only reason why I'm gonna talk about this is because if something happens to me, y'all know why. I'll tell y'all the whole story. There's this certain guy that lives out here in this town. And he's well known, but he's well known for one thing. People talk, and I'm the type of person, I give somebody a chance. Like, if you come to me and tell me somebody's a certain way and I don't know that person, I'm not going to take your word. You know, I've been misled too many times in my life just listening to somebody, and that's how rumors and gossip and things start. And people's done it to me. They say I'm a certain way, and they never met me. They never gave me a chance to show them differently. So why do I want to be that way to other people, you know? But the guy's known around here for being a pedophile. Well, like I said, people can say stuff. Wait till I heard it with my own ears, y'all. He ain't been caught, though. That's the thing. The police, nobody do nothing to him because his family's well connected. And plus, he's not all there, but he still knows right from wrong. You know that by having conversations with him. He knows what's right and wrong. He knows that how he talks is wrong and what he said. He knows it. But how I know this, I'm going to say this because I'm not just slandering. It's not hearsay. I heard it with my own ears. Now, I don't remember what year it was, but I know my daughter was 12 and she's about to be 15. So, but he stopped by my house when we lived up in that other house, out by the driveway, and he saw me outside. I don't remember what I was doing, something in my truck, and he stopped, and I went up there and talked to him. One of my daughter's friends walked down the road, and now I can't tell other parents and things what to do with their kids, but I know for my daughter, she ain't going outside wearing skimpy clothes. Nope. But I know I don't want to be that controlling. I don't want to be that way, you know, because if I did control everything she does like that, she'll wind up hating me when she's older. I've seen it so many times. But I'm not, you know, what I'm saying, super strict. That's what I should say. I'm not going to be super strict. But we have boundaries. Like you don't wear that. You don't, you know. Anyways, this little girl come walking down the road, and this guy was just staring at her, and I was in there, what are you doing? Anyway, the girl walked up directly to me out in the driveway, into the driveway, and she said, "Hey, is your daughter here?" "Yeah, she's over here. She's in the house. Go knock on the door." And she walked up, and she's wearing shorts and a little crop top. It was summertime, and that's just so gross to stare at a kid. But that's what he was doing. He was staring at, watching her walk the whole. As he was talking to me, and I was like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "That one there is fine." I said, "She's 12, man." And he looked directly in my eyes. "I don't care. Conversation's over, man." That was all I needed to hear. And I said, "All right, dude," and I turned around and walked off. That was it. So I guess everybody was right on things that they say that he's done or said, or that's all it took. You know, it gives, like I said, I give people a chance. But you could just tell he's not all there. Not autistic, but seriously, he's not all there. You could just tell. And, you know, I had some family members that were not all there. Not, you know, pedophile like that, but they weren't all there. And there's a certain way you talk to these people, not with violence. You have to talk to them calmly because they snap really easy. Anyways, 2-3 days ago, I went down here to this boat launch here, and there's a hill. Now, when you're up at the top of this hill at the boat launch down here, you can't see down there what's down there at all. You can't see if there's any people, nothing. And the only way I know if someone's down there fishing is if I drive a little closer and look down there. Well, I parked up at the top because I was going to walk across the old bridge and go on the other side where it's so peaceful and there's nobody else over there, and just sit there and enjoy the water, you know, enjoy the birds and the wind. And It's not about the fish, you know. It's really not. But anyways, he was parked long ways, probably 30 feet from the truck where I parked. He could see down the hill, but I couldn't. Well, I didn't know what he was doing. He had his phone facing out the driver's window like he was recording something. I thought maybe he was recording the lake. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I didn't know at that time. And I thought to myself, what is he doing? Because he would look at his phone and look at me. Anyways, I grabbed my rods and the backpack and I got out the truck, locked the door, and I went to walk across the bridge. I got right there to where the old bridge starts, and I could see down the hill, and I saw there was a bunch of little kids down there, probably 10. I saw 2 women, probably my age. There was a teenage boy, and I'm guessing his girlfriend. I don't know. They acted like they were dating. She was wearing a bikini. She had to have been 13, 14. And the other little girls were wearing bathing suits and stuff. And I said, oh boy. Now, I could have been like most people. I could have just minded my own business and just walked across the bridge and just let it go. But I was like, you know what? If I did that and something happens, there's no way I'd be able to sleep. Okay. I felt in my pocket, act like I forgot something. I turned around, got back in the truck, and I sat for a second. And then I drove down the hill. Well, when I did, I parked the truck next to where that woman's truck was, but I parked it to where I was kind of blocking, where he couldn't, he couldn't record anymore, or whatever he was doing. I know that's what he was doing. Why? I mean, anyways, I got out, and when there was that little teenage boy, I say little, he was probably 15, 16. He was standing at the back. They had a little Tahoe, and he was standing in the back getting something. And I said, hey. And he looked at me and said, yes, sir. And I said, y'all know that man up here? No, sir. Well, by this time, the mom heard me talking to the boy. Well, I got out the truck, and I was going to go over here and talk to her. And I said, you know, I don't believe in slander and none of that. And I'm not just telling you this. Well, be careful. I said, that man up there, he's a very well-known pedophile. And I don't want to alarm you, but it looks to me like he was recording y'all. Well, she freaked out. She hollered for them kids, and she asked me his name, and I told him. I told her. And she said, I'm about to look him up on this registry. And you ain't going to find him there. He ain't ever been caught. She got real scared at that point. He sat up there for 6 hours, y'all. Truck running, everything, doing that. And I knew what else he was doing. Something even sicker than just recording. I'll get into that. Anyway, I sat down there and talked to him about 10 minutes. And like I said, blocked the view where he couldn't see these kids. Some people would say, well, you should have minded your own business. Well, again, if I do that and something happens and I could try to warn somebody before something bad does happen, I try my best to warn somebody. It's like I come here and warn y'all that Jesus is coming soon for so long. All I could do is try. If you listen, you listen. If you don't, I told you. I told you. And for you to do what you do at that point. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like I'm not going to lie to these people. Anyway, I sat down about 10, 15 minutes with them and just talked and, cast it out. And that teenage boy was asking me questions about fish baits and, And I said, all right, y'all, I'm going to go back up here and go across the bridge. I don't have social anxiety per se, but I just don't like being around people I don't know for long periods of time. I just run out of things to say, and anyways, I loaded up and went back up on the hill, and I walked across the bridge. I sat down there till dark. Probably 3 hours I was over there. And where I was sitting down there on the other side, I couldn't see his truck. I couldn't even see if those people were there, so I assumed they all left. It started getting dark, and I loaded up my stuff again and walked across the bridge. I got halfway across the bridge, and I saw he was still there. Well, I leaned over and looked, and those kids, they were all still there. Anyways, we got halfway, and there was this couple fishing off the bridge. People do that all the time. There's been a lot of people on boats go up under that bridge, and I've even seen it with my own eyes out there one time. It was probably 9 years ago. There was this boat that went through, and there was a guy tight lining off that bridge, and he was using mono line, and for some reason the sun was right in that guy's face in the boat. He didn't see that line, and he went through that line, and the treble hook right there got his eye. I watched that happen. Supposedly they were going to outlaw people fishing from off the bridge in certain spots where boats travel, but nobody enforces it. So local fishermen that go out there in boats know to go really slow right there. But people that don't come out very often, they don't know. And I haven't heard of any incidents happening since, but I mean, it could have. I don't know, just because I didn't hear about it. Anyways, it was a black guy and a white girl, and I saw that they had 2 toddlers. Well, I heard him talking about the guy. He said, when we walked up, I saw him recording those kids. He said that out of his mouth. Well, I heard that. I didn't know that guy. And I said, yeah, man, y'all be careful. I see y'all got 2 little girls here. I said, be careful, because he's known around here for that. And I'd hate for something to happen and me not say nothing, you know. Anyways, I walked back down there, and for some reason, I was going to get in the truck and just go home. But I felt heavy to stay for some reason, so I was like, okay. Got in the truck, drove back down the hill, and I parked on the other side. These people were on the right, I went on the left over here. And, well, that guy sat up there 30 more minutes, I guess, and everybody was talking about it. You could just hear it. The guy up on top of that bridge was hollering and stuff, and anyways, the guy turned around, and I was like, Lord, please don't let him come down here and talk to me. And that's exactly what he did. He drove down there, got out, walked down there where I was fishing, and started talking to me. And I was like, okay, I'll use this opportunity to kind of calmly work my way into, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this? And like I say, there's a certain way you talk to people that's not all there. Well, as soon as that guy got out and walked down there, he asked me, he said, do you ever catch any fish out of here? And he stutters real bad. And I said, yeah, I catch them all the time. And I was just about to kind of work my way into it. And that guy up on that bridge started hollering, cussing, yelling, John Wayne's son type stuff. Like, you're so bad, you know, but you're 100 yards away. Telling me to do stuff to this guy. Stop. Let me handle it. The guy figured out, because he kept asking me, who's he talking to? You know, yeah, he's doing wrong. But I know how this guy is. And I said, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just stay calm, ignore it. And he said, no, I'm going to go get my pistol and I'm going to go up there and shoot him. No, don't do that. Just calm down. And, you know, I had to sit, as this guy was up there hollering, cussing, white boy, that, you know, I had to calm this guy down. No, I didn't want to talk to him, but I was trying to, you know. So it kind of backfired what I was trying to do there. So then I had to stop with at that point, weaseling in what I was wanting to do, talk to him, and then I had to reverse and calm him down. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can stop it. I don't know how I'm going to stop it. He walked back up to his truck, and I said, okay, and I went back up to this truck, and I had my rubber boots on, so I opened this door back here is where I had my shoes. I opened this back door, and I was taking my boots off, and putting my shoes on, and I could see the guy was parked right here on the passenger side, and his truck was a little taller than this one. It's a 2-wheel drive, but I saw him and had the windows down, and he said, "Hey, hey," and I just looked up, and I was sitting there putting my shoes on, and he brandished his gun at me. What are you doing? Why he did that? And then don't ever do that. You shouldn't even be carrying a gun, you know. I don't know why nobody's done anything. Truly, I don't. But anyways, I said, look, just ignore it. Roll your window up and just go on home. Ride past that. Don't do nothing. I'm glad he listened to me. But then I was like, what are we going to do about this other situation? How'd someone get away with this? You know? We had 2 witnesses saw him recording these kids on anyways. So, the crazy thing, the guy knows where I live and everything, you know? It's like on edge right now. Truly. But after all that happened, that guy up on that bridge started turning his words against me. What did I do? Just because I didn't fight the dude or do what you wanted, that's not how I handle stuff anymore. That's not who I am anymore, you know? Well, I called the chief out here. I know him. And I told him about it. And came here and got my wife. Told her about it. She knows the dude. She knows all about this. And then we drove back down there, and my wife wanted to talk to that girl. And we went back down there, and that girl told me, as I was on the other side of that bridge where I couldn't see, she said she called the deputy sheriffs. And one came out. As I was over there, I couldn't see anything. And she told the deputy the entire situation, what was going on, all this stuff. And the deputy looked right in her face, knowing the guy, and said, he ain't like that. Didn't even make a report or nothing, just said he ain't like that. You know something's going on when they won't do nothing. It goes deeper. Well, after I called the chief and talked to him, he was pretty upset about it. And he said, okay, we got to go higher up, I guess. Got to go above. I don't know what they're doing now. But I saw that guy the other day. He rode past me. Had the most evil look in his eye towards me. So I don't know if he's heard. I don't know. But I know personally when I was down there, when he was talking about he wanted to shoot that guy, I'll tell y'all like this, right? If I ever carry my pistol, everybody's different, yes I know. But it never once crosses my mind using that against another human being. It's always like, if I break down and it's dark. We have panthers out here. Black panthers, truly. That's what I use that for. Or better yet, here I have this one here. It's dirty. See that right there? That's rat shot, 9mm. That goes in my weapon. What do you use rat shot for? Water moccasins, rattlesnakes, copperheads. You can't use that on a person. I don't think about that. But this guy plainly told me that he wants somebody to cross his path so he can use that 45 he's got. That's sick. This world is demented, y'all. It's sick. I don't care what people say, and there's a lot of people saying that things are going to change, things are going to turn around. No. It's going to remain getting worse and worse and worse until the Lord Jesus comes and takes the church. Then it's going to get even worse. How so? Well, the Holy Spirit ain't going to be here no more. Can you imagine how sick things are going to get then? This ain't going to be here no more anyhow. The good old US of A. Nope. It's going to burn forever. Not just me, many people have seen it. Who listens? Not very many. How many people actually listen to an entire video that I do that happens to get long like this one? How many? Truly. Not many. They don't want to listen. It's like goldfish. If it's longer than 6 minutes, they don't want to watch it. You know, the warnings are there, right? And if something happens to me, I pray it doesn't, because, you know, I have a family that needs me. But if it does, don't ever say I didn't warn you. I didn't come here and tell you. You know, it's like those people down there. I could have minded my business, but I didn't feel right about that. I did not feel right about that. The chief wanted me to come down there. These people don't know me as a liar. I'm not going to lie to people. I went down there and had to fill out this. I said, you want all details? Yeah, just write them down. I said, man, this is going to take more than that. 3 pages. I'm sure it got back to that guy somehow, because they're, you know, his family's well known and well connected. So I'm sure, I'm sure it got back to him. But you know what? I'll tell you. Jesus Christ by your side. What's there to fear? It's a scripture. If God be for us, who can be against us? I'm just saying. There's nothing to fear. But fear itself, is the old saying. Nothing to fear. And through all, God is still good. Now, did he put that on me? Did the good Lord put that on me to not mind my own business? To tell these people, to warn them that there's a predator preying on children? Why wouldn't he? Not like that happens often, where I'm in a situation where I have to warn somebody about something or somebody, or it don't happen often. Because I see people don't care these days. And that guy that was hollering and cussing me up on that bridge, I tell y'all, in my younger days, and I've learned this, the loudest one has always been the weakest. From 100 yards away, he was acting like he was John Wayne's son. He never once walked down there, didn't do nothing. He stayed in that same spot. But from what he told the chief, he was the hero. He told the chief, and I'm not lying for nobody, but he asked me, what did this guy do? And I told him the truth. He just sat up on the bridge hollering. He didn't do nothing. I mean, I didn't see him do nothing from any of it. We told the chief that he walked over there and got in this guy's face and all this stuff. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. And I guess that guy found out and is mad at me too. I ran into him yesterday when I was across town. I said, that guy looked familiar. Same one that was up on that bridge. He looked familiar. Well, I had walked by him. He had his family with him, I guess. And I said, his face looked so familiar. I couldn't pinpoint where I knew him from. The first time I ever seen him was the other day. And literally walked right in front of him. I didn't see his fishing line. He let me walk into his fishing line. He was sitting there eyeballing me. I've never seen, y'all, I've never seen anybody look at me with so much hate in their eyes like that guy did, and he don't even know me. We have a problem these days with people hate people because of skin color, which is the stupidest thing That's not a reason to hate somebody. And then the people getting their brains washed by saying white people are Esau. Well, let's go back in the Old Testament and see what Esau was and where he went, folks. I can dispute that right now. Was Esau white? No. What does it say Esau was? Red and hairy. Now, I want you to really think, and go read if you need to, the story of Jacob and Esau and all this stuff. Go read it. Where did Esau go? Modern day Arabia. Now, when you see, I mean, there's a lot of Arabians that they're so tan, they look red. But even Indian people, not Native American, I'm talking people from India. When you look at their skin color, what do you see? It almost looks red, correct? And a lot of them are very, very hairy. There's your Esau, okay? When Jesus came, died, and rose again, all that's gone. All the generational curses, all this and that, it's broke, it's gone. Why people say this stuff still is beyond me, because it's not biblical. At one point, yes. We're talking back in the days, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, nail for a nail. That's gone. People don't read. They develop this hate towards, and it could be any way you look at it, but they've developed this hate. And then they use that, and then someone is brainwashed, reads leaning on their own understanding, and then says, look, there it is right there. Okay, now we can hate these people because this says this right here. So God hated Esau, therefore he hates all these people. Really? If that's the case, folks, look at my skin color. What color am I? As if it matters. Have I not told y'all that I have medically died 3 times? I only saw hell once. That's because I didn't know Jesus. But the other 2 times it wasn't that way. If God hates me because of my skin color, why didn't I see hell again? That's not the case. The hatred is just that what it is. That's of the devil. No one wants to listen to that. You know, at one point, my mama's mama, she was a racist. I didn't get into that stuff. My second family that I grew up with was black. I didn't get into any of that stuff. People that I loved that lived across the street from my daddy's mama were black people. My best friend, his name was Marcus, was black. And I'd go over there and stay the night with him. I'd eat breakfast and lunch and dinner with him. His dad, Mr. James, and his mom, they had a loving family. They accepted me with open arms, and my parents accepted him with open arms. But it's not like that everywhere. People look at me and assume, oh, you're a Trump supporter because of your skin color. Oh, you're this, you're that. You're a racist. You're privileged. Come on. Walk a mile in my shoes. You'll see I ain't privileged. There's people that call me that. I promise you they got more than I do. Struggle. It's a fight every day. Every day. How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? It's all in the Lord's hands. How can you see all this stuff go on and not say that Jesus is coming soon? That's beyond me. Best thing is, and what I do with these people that are out here saying that I'm going to hell because of my skin color, and I ignore them because they're wrong. If they were right, again, I would have saw hell the last time my heart stopped in 2019. It would have been different because, again, I've already seen hell in 2002. I didn't know the Lord. I did in 2018. Didn't see hell. I did in 2019. Didn't see hell. And for some reason, the Lord's kept me around through all these other times that I was supposed to be dead. Especially in 2024. I spent almost that entire year in the hospital dying. And for some reason, the Lord kept me here. It's not for me to argue with. So all of 2024, I didn't really get to do nothing. I missed that almost that entire year because I was so sick. And half of 2025. Why he kept me here? I don't know how, I don't know the whys. It's not for any of us to know, but I'm going to tell you this right here. I believe it's for this because he's coming so soon. And how many people out here are telling you how it is? Truthfully. Oh, they'll sit here and read Hal Turner and this and that, and they'll say that they have their insiders are telling them this is happening and that's happening. And what's crazy to me is the people, especially here on YouTube, I don't have TikTok or none of that no more, so I can't tell you what's going on there anymore. But these people will tell you that my insider, I don't know if that's the exact word they use, but that's the only thing coming to my brain, is telling me that this is about to go down next week, or this or that. It's crazy to me because people will believe this, and then that next week comes and it didn't happen. Well, where are they getting their information from? Their insider. I'll tell you their insider is Hal Turner. And everything that Hal Turner reports on, it's all clickbait. Maybe one or two things will happen, but every day he has something new, and people go and they flock to it and they listen to it and they're like, oh, look at this, this is good. And it never happens. This is the stuff that's going on. So how many people, truly, how many people here on YouTube that are not reading Hal Turner stuff or Alex Jones or any of this stuff, how many of them are telling you how it is? Not many. Look around. What are we doing? Well, I guess at this point we're just waiting, huh? I know I'm not the only one that goes through stuff almost on a daily basis. Every day I walk outside, see my wife struggle. All these applications I have in. And I walk out here and look at that truck that's sitting right there broke. I know somebody will call me a liar, so I brought these keys out here. We're going to walk over here in a minute and I'm going to show you what it does. Because, do I get tired of people calling me liars and this and that? Yeah. There ain't nothing I can do about it. You can believe what you want to believe anyway. That's just how it is what it is. I'm surprised the battery's still working. It's been sitting there, what, 3 months? Mid-January, something right there. I told my wife, she's doing this, grocery delivery thing. Hey, if I had a vehicle, that's what I told her. If I had a vehicle, if my vehicle was running, I'd just go ahead and go sign up and do that with you. And then, hey, maybe we can make it until the Lord comes. But that's the problem. All the bills, with her doing it, it just goes to bills. But if I was doing it too, we'd have the extra money on the side for me to buy parts and do this and do that. But it's a struggle. And like I said, it's not just me that struggles. I know that. The difference is that someone that struggles and suffers without Christ versus with Christ, it's completely different. You may say, how so? Well, the people who are suffering and struggle without Christ, they just, sometimes they'll pick up the bottle, or they'll do this, or they'll do that, or they'll end it. They don't hope. They have nothing to hope for. But with Christ, you know that all things work together for good for those who love Christ. Therefore, there's hope that things will get done because you have Christ, and He will not abandon you. That's the thing. He'll never abandon you. So let's walk over here, and I'll show you. I ain't been in here in a while, so there's mouse poop everywhere. All right. If it cranks, I'm gonna be shocked because I ain't even tried in a long time. So here, let's see. That's all it does. That's what it's done since I parked it. The only thing I'm trying, watch. That's what it does. People call me what they want to. When I tell you this, have hope in the Lord. Things will turn around. And if they don't, hey, He's coming soon. Keep looking up. Romans 10:13.